Hello, everyone, and welcome to Diversity Matters, a show that celebrates the stories, the leadership, and the impact of those driving meaningful change in our industries and communities. I'm your host, Teresa Palacio Smith, and today we're diving into an exciting new chapter in the world of construction leadership and Latino empowerment. We're talking about the National Hispanic Construction Alliance, a bold new initiative designed to increase Hispanic representation across all levels of the construction industry. This movement is part of the vision of my good friend and industry icon, Gary Acosta, co-founder and CEO of NAHREP, and it's already gaining national momentum. Joining me today are two incredible leaders helping bring that vision to life. Jerry Ascencio, founding member of NHCA and past president of NAHREP, and the creative force behind the award-winning 53 Million and One show. Jerry has spent his career championing Hispanic wealth building and leadership, and now he's helping expand that mission into construction. Welcome so much, Jerry, to the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Teresa.
And Sergio Barajas, Executive Director. Sergio and I have had the honor of serving together as co-chairs on the Corporate Board of Governors of NAHREP, and I've seen firsthand his passion, creativity, and commitment to our community. He's also got a love for steel and design, and I can't wait for us to hear more about that. And how you got into construction and the love of being involved in this endeavor. Jerry and Sergio, welcome both to Diversity Matters.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. We're excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
So let's start. So I'm going to start with you, Sergio. And how did the idea for the National Hispanic Construction Alliance come to life? And how did Gary Acosta's vision influence its creation?
Yeah, so thank you, Teresa, first of all, for having me today on this podcast. I really appreciate the time. It kind of happened by accident, to be honest with you. Back in 2021, Home Depot had agreed to sponsor the NAHREP National Conference. And part of the deliverable back to Home Depot at that point in time was to have a roundtable with the Home Depot CEO and leadership to figure out how they could better serve the Hispanic construction worker and contractor. And so Gary, at that point in time, tasked me with putting that working group or that roundtable together. And I was really concerned as to whether or not I'd be able to gather 10, 15 contractors to sit in the room. They prefer to swing hammers, right? And so I was a little anxious, but the day of the actual meeting, Teresa, we had standing room only. We had 30, 40 contractors in the room. The walls were lined. And I think that that's what really sparked this discussion on there's obviously a real need if folks are walking off the job to the conference and wanting to engage with Home Depot. So number one, we established the need. And then as Gary and I spoke about kind of the audience that attended and the questions that were being asked, we saw how much synergy there was between building our space and our place in the construction industry, but at the same time, understanding how important it was to not only build commercial, but residential housing for those that are trying to achieve the dream of home ownership. So that was kind of the happy accident that occurred.
Gosh, I had no idea. I did not know the story behind it. So that is, interesting and so exciting. It totally makes sense. And Jerry, I know that this is kind of the right timing. And certainly, we have so much need for housing, especially for housing affordability and with what's happening in the industry today. Tell me a little bit about why you think the timing is perfect and why you decided to, get started now.
Yeah, well, thank you, Teresa. You mentioned Gary Acosta. And Gary Acosta is a visionary individual. He's an iconic figure. He's a Latino leader. But what he does have, he has an incredible understanding, boots on the ground. What is the real pulse? He keeps his ear on the ground. What is the pulse? What's happening here in housing, and particularly in the Latino market? And he realizes there are 3.7 million Latinos that are currently employed in the construction industry. And he looked around and said, they don't have one united voice. They don't have anybody that is galvanizing this group. This cohort does not speak to each other. There are no programs of empowerment on such an important sector. And what it is, it's all about growth. It's all about change. It's all about that. Right now that you mentioned that I served as the former national president, I remember your year as president. So you were president of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals in the year 2015. That was a decade ago. That was 10 years ago. And how far the organization has come in those 10 years. I mean, you can see those extraordinary milestones that have been achieved, which I'm sure that we'll get to in this wonderful empowerment program. But I think that's the timing. We looked at it and Gary saw it and said, hey, wait a minute, nobody's speaking for these 3.7 million Latinos that are in construction, and they're so tied to the housing element. It's funny that we talk about residential, then we talk about commercial. The same thing is that we're experimenting on the construction side. Most people start on the residential side, and then they bridge over to where the big boys play, commercial construction. And now you're talking sky rises, now you're talking hotels, now you're talking big jobs, government jobs that are really moving the needle and getting that piece of the market on the construction side. So timely could not be better. The timing could not be better than now.
Well, I think that's so interesting. Now, 3.7 million. Sergio, what does that encompass? So you're looking at, because, people don't realize construction is not just the people that are with the hammers. It is all levels of individuals
Yeah,
that are part of the construction industry.
that's correct, Teresa. The 3.7 million, let's start by saying the 3.7 million are those that can be counted. So
Exactly.
that 3.7 is actually a larger number. And again, that's a figure from 2023, which as we put together our report for next year, we'll update that number, based on new statistics. But in 2023, that 3.7 million represents 821 billion in construction GDP. So
Wow.
just let that kind of sink in a little bit about the money, quote unquote, that's on the table, that's available to pursue. But to your point, we called ourselves the National Hispanic Construction Alliance and not Contractors Alliance, because we recognize, Teresa, that it's not just the woman or man swinging a hammer. It's the folks that are the engineers, the architects, the project managers, the insurance companies that insure these projects, the bonding companies. So it includes that entire sphere of folks that touch construction. So that's why it was important for us to recognize that this was a construction alliance and not a contractors association.
Well, I think it's so interesting because my nephew just got into construction, so I'm going to encourage him to come to NAHREP, and he's an engineer, and so it's every level, right, that starts and touches the construction industry, which is really interesting. So, Jerry, we're going to talk about you for a minute because I'm so impressed with with all the things that you've done from being president of NARA, from 53 million and one, from the theater. I mean, my God. And then the Hispanic Wealth Project, which, by the way, you had a goal to set to increase Hispanic wealth. You touched all those goals. You reached all those goals. And now this, what construction, why, what has brought you to this endeavor?
It's I've been asked that because they say, well, Jerry, you're a real estate broker. That's your day job. You're not swinging the hammer. So how or connect the dots for me, if you will. And here's the best answer. I looked at the ecosystem that we have at the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, and I realized that a great percentage of people that are in the real estate industry are also in the construction industry. Teresa, these are the flippers. These are the people that are buying spec homes. These are the people that are doing lot splits. These are the people that are building ADUs. These are the people that are buying properties for short-term rental, that are wanting to put them on Airbnb. And these are the people that have close ties to the roofer, to the plumber, to the insulator, to the painter, to the framer, to the construction guy, to the concrete worker. I mean, these are I mean, I looked at my phone, I looked inside my iPhone, and I saw a tremendous amount of people in the construction industry that I've been dealing with over my career. I mean, I'm going on almost 4 decades in the real estate industry, and I could not think of a group where there's more alignment. Yes, 53 million and one. I thank you for reminding me of that. Beautiful thing that we did with the organization in 2014. We took that show all across the nation, Atlanta, your hometown, and so on and so forth. And we were everywhere. And it told the Latino American story, the story of the entrepreneur, the story about coming to this country in search for a better life. But it also talked about empowerment. It talked about meeting goals. Speaking of meeting goals, you're absolutely right. We're very proud of all the work that we did with the Hispanic Wealth Project, because we had a Herculean goal of tripling the amount of the Latino wealth for the medium Latino in America. And we exceeded our goal. We met that milestone in advance of the 10-year, earmark that Gary had put for us. So now we turn to construction. Why construction? Because most of the people that come to our conference at NAHREP that are realtors, like everyone here at Berkshire Hathaway, like myself, etc., we're married usually to somebody that's in the construction industry. We have primos, we have cousins, we have family, we have extended family. I have extended family that work in the construction industry on the day-to-day. So what a better industry that has so much alignment and so much in common, what we're doing here. Housing, one of the most important elements in all of America, American economy, 18% of the GDP for the United States of America. I mean, this is all connected to the construction element. Or as I've said, Teresa, I'm never going to sell a house that is not built by the construction industry. So you can sell it off of a brochure, but at the end of the day, before that family moves in, before that homeowner comes and says, "This is my stake, this is my place," somebody has to pour that concrete. Somebody has to build those walls. Somebody has to run those pipes. So all of those things. And then today, in the market that we're in, with people doing expansions, with people doing accessory dwelling units, granny flats, whatever they're called in different parts of the country, this is an unprecedented time of growth and opportunity on the construction side, Teresa.
Well, you know what? You made such a great point, because the fact is, we all as realtors have, those clients that, and even ourselves, that are, flipping those homes or taking homes, or have clients that are doing that, or have investors that are working in that space that are doing construction, or our clients are in the construction business. So I think that totally makes sense. And I love that, analogy of how important it is of the construction, that everyone that we work with has that home was built by someone in that construction field. And Sergio, I know that you took on this executive director role, which to me, now makes sense based on the fact that the study that you did with Gary Acosta. It was surprising to me at first, but tell me a little bit more about what inspired you, number one, but what are some of the goals that you are hoping to accomplish within the first 5 years of its, inception?
Yeah, well, Teresa, I know we know each other rather well, but I don't know if you've known that I've been engaged in development for over 25 years. Really, I think it goes back to my days at the housing department of the city of Los Angeles, and being executive director there, and director of housing at the redevelopment agency. So I've always touched construction in some way, shape, or form, whether it was, doing single family rehab programs for the city, whether it was doing affordable housing with tax credits. It's always been something that I've been exposed to since, my mid 20s. And so the one constant that I've always seen, no matter what part of the business I've been engaged in, is the labor side. And in California, as you know, even though Hispanics represent 30% of labor nationally, in California and in Los Angeles County, that's about 70%. So it was even more omnipresent. And so I always looked at the role of Hispanic labor, both, from a manual standpoint and from a professional standpoint. And I always recognized kind of where they sat in the totem pole, so to speak, of the hierarchy there. And it always ended up creating a little bit of angst for me, not understanding why we weren't a little bit further up the food chain, so to speak. There were certainly some folks that were doing a great job, like McCormick Baron Salazar, Tony Salazar was a friend of mine back in the development days, Lou Bernardi as well. So there was definitely some Latinos there, but it was like, why are we missing in these middle rungs of the ladder, so to speak, right? And so I think that's always been a little bit of a stone in my shoe, so to speak. And so that's really what inspired me to say, well, let's do something in this space. Let's have this conversation with Gary and see if he sees things the same way we do. And, the truth is, Teresa, is we weren't looking to create a new organization. We were looking to find the right organization that we could essentially help move into a national platform, into a national space. The problem when we approached other organizations about this space is two words came to mind: mission and control. You either want to push forward your mission or you want to keep control. And they were more concerned with control than the mission. So here we are. We decided to push forward. It'll be 2 years since we were announced in Miami at the national conference there. And, again, going back to the second half of that question, what's our goal in 5 years? Well, I think it's a stretch goal. We're really looking to join the 50-50 club. So what does the 50-50 club mean? Well, it means I would like to see us have 50 chapters in 50 markets and hit 50,000. And I think that's totally doable. But obviously, we need to align with the right sponsors. We need to get the correct messaging out, both in Spanish and English. And most importantly, we need to have the right leadership at the national level, folks like Jerry Ascencio who are helping guide us and help us identify what are the correct levers to pull and buttons to push to make sure we move in the right direction.
So 50 chapters in 50
markets and 50,000 members.
Perfect. I got it. So, I know that you are you're going to be hosting your first events at NAHREP, during the upcoming AVANCE Global Conference. So tell me a little bit more about what, can attendees expect, and what are you going to, what are the sessions? What are some of the, events that you're going to be hosting, so that individuals that want to attend will know what to expect?
Well, Teresa, I mean, you and I have been, and Jerry have been to plenty NAHREP conferences, and now at AVANCE Global, it's going to be a conference on steroids, really. There's so much information that's going to be shared across all of the different platforms, but I'm going to brag about what we're doing this coming September. So I think what we're most proud of doing this coming September, Teresa, is we're pushing forward with our Build the Builder initiative. And you and Jerry mentioned how realtors, how contractors or construction workers start to engage in the development space in a very small way by doing flips, by doing ADUs. So our Build the Builder initiative is really focused on making sure that our membership, that those that participate at the conference and attend, are really brought up to speed on the 4 key items that impact development. And number one, as a realtor, this, site selection, making sure that they understand how important that is on day one, because you can't make an apple into a pear or a pear into an apple. What can you do with that lot on day one? Number two, we've got to have some pre-development discussions, right? We want them to understand everything that's involved in pre-development, right? What your soft costs are, what your hard costs are projected to be. Number three, we're going to have a project management. So we're going to talk about how to manage that project going forward. And most important, or equally important, is we're going to have a couple of people come in and talk about how we underwrite multi-unit development, whether that's for sale or whether that's for rental. So again, we want to show you the entire world. We're going to give you a brief snapshot, but this is intended to really expand into a full 3 or 4 day course at the end of the year called Develop the Developer. So this is the tease, this is the prequel, and we're hoping to develop that pushing forward. We've got 4 other classes we're going to do, Teresa, and I'm happy to talk about that, but that's going to be our focus at the conference.
Are you looking to, try to create like a training, where people get a certification type? Is that one thing that
Yeah.
you're hoping to create? I'm just
So I think,
curious. Yeah.
yeah, I think that certainly the develop the developer piece that we'll be pushing out by the end of the year will be something that results in a quote unquote certification. This build the builder, maybe we could say it's almost like a student participation trophy, because I do want to be able to carry that forward and say, oh, wait a minute, you attended the build the builder sessions, all of them in San Diego. Let's give you a little bit of a discount for registering for the, the larger session, because you've already invested in this space a little bit. So it's definitely going to carry some weight going forward.
I love it. So Jerry, do you know, and I know sometimes it's hard because the way the courses run, would they run consecutively with some of the NAHREP other courses or other sessions? Or is it, how we did, where there's the main sessions and
I'd
then
say
there's the
yes, for sure. That's a good question. But here's the way that I see it. A lot of the NAHREP community
Mhm.
are people that, for example, the wife is a realtor
Yeah.
or is a licensed agent or is a broker, and she'll go to her sessions that are of her interest, while her husband, that is a developer, that is a builder, that is a landscaping company, that is doing all these great things, will go to their sessions. So the one good problem to have at NAHREP, at Proximo Global, is going to be, what decisions are you going to make? If you're going to be at Build the Builder, yes, you're going to miss out on some other sessions there, but it's all about priority. And there's going to be something for everyone that arrives there. I think I'll go back for a second, if you will allow me, to Sergio's original comment of, this is not a contractors alliance. This is for everybody. This is for everybody that touches the construction experience. And speaking of the rungs on the ladder, that's exactly what our vision is. It's to bring that person 1 rung up, 2 rungs up, 3 rungs up, and take the person from going from non-skilled labor to skilled labor. Take them from going from skilled labor to a subcontractor, and take them from that to a GC, a general contractor. Take them from that to then being a developer. And the overall vision, I mean, these are really hardworking people. I know my family that directly works in construction every single day. They come home, they put in an amazing, incredible day's work, etc. But we're inviting them, Teresa, to take 2 steps back and not work in their business, but work on their
yeah,
business.
yeah,
On their business. What can we do to take you up a notch?
yeah,
What can we do to empower you? What can we do to give you the tools to change where you are in the whole construction ecosystem? And that's what it's all about. So I think it's going to be contagious. It's going to be incredible. I had the opportunity of one of my friends, the Castillo family, which are a licensed contractor, that they attended that first meeting. It was in 2014, Sergio, the one that with Home Depot, the sponsorship and everything else. And they came back just ecstatic. It's like, there's nothing like this in the whole nation, and so on and so forth. But I do want to speak to one thing, Teresa. What's in it for Berkshire Hathaway? What's in it for the real estate community? You can make some of the most powerful ties and create some of the biggest and most raving fans for you and for your business by empowering them and introducing them to the National Hispanic Construction Alliance. They will be forever grateful to you. I'll use that Chinese proverb, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but teach a man to fish, and you've basically fed him for the rest of his life. That's what we're into. We're not into giving the person a fish. We're into teaching them how to fish so they can work on their business and they can think big. What we want to see them is thinking, wait a minute, I've always signed the back of the check. When is it going to be my turn to sign the front of the check and give those checks to others? When is it my turn to not become the employee, but become the employer? When is it my turn to not work the project, but to own the project? And those are all the things that are going to be so possible with everything that we're doing in San Diego and beyond, and in those future 50 chapters all over the all over the nation. And for those 50,000 members that are going to be sprinkled everywhere. You're right, Sergio, in Los Angeles, it's probably more than 70% construction. But you know what? Here in Dallas, Texas as well. I'm in Dallas, Texas today, and I went over to a restaurant, got speaking to the person there, and I said, did you move here from somewhere else? Yes, I moved from California. And what did you do in California? She said, well, I did something different. I was in manufacturing and so on. But when I came here to Dallas, basically we all work either in the restaurant industry or in construction. What does your husband do? They're in construction. What does your family do? They're in construction. These are organizations and these are cities that are being rebuilt. The whole infrastructure is being remade again, and they're being done with the Latino muscle, with the Latino initiative, with the Latino entrepreneurial spirit. So this thing is just going to explode, in
It
my
really
opinion.
is.
Yeah.
I totally 100% agree. And one thing that you did mention too is, I see that many of the chapters already are, led by some very strong women. You got Tina Marie, who has done a lot. I mean, she's now getting into the development side. So I see that you've got some very strong, entrepreneurs. Auralia does a lot of her own investment, so I love that, that you've got a lot of women. We just had NAHREP Atlanta just had our Women of Wealth event, and one of the number one roofers here in Atlanta is a young woman that has started the business about 5 years ago. She's in her early 20s, and is really doing very well in the business, a Latina. So again, she'll be part of the organization, So again, I love that. Now, one of the things that I wonder, because you're alliance, obviously you've got alliance with NAHREP, but there's a lot of other organizations that you can also bridge, an alliance with. Are you looking at partnering with other organizations as you look ahead? Are you, to kind of build a momentum and to create more impact? And either one of you, if you want to answer that question.
Sergio?
Well, absolutely, Teresa. We're already doing that, and obviously we'll continue to do that. There are other like-minded organizations that function at the local level, the state level, the regional level, and we have had conversations with numerous organizations at the local level that we want them to understand that we're not here as a competitor. We're actually here as a feeder organization, because if we can get that construction worker that's not certified, that's not skilled, and we can move him up the rungs of the ladder and he can become a contractor, guess what? He's going to join your organization at the local level as well as be part of our national organization. So that's number one. Number two, and the second thing we're doing on a national basis is we're tying into national groups that have the same vision that we do. Now, that doesn't mean that they're Hispanic. They don't need to be able to roll their R's. We just want them to understand that we belong in this space, that we're trying to prosper in this space, and let's be on the same page. And so with that said, we've partnered with the National Roofing Contractors Association. We've partnered with the Home Builders Institute. We've partnered with numerous organizations like that have a national footprint and understand that they need to improve their delivery back to the Hispanic contractor, back to the Hispanic construction worker. And that's the conduit that we're trying to create nationally through our chapters and through our members.
Yeah, because I know the largest building, organization holds their, they hold their conference in Orlando and then in Las Vegas every year. They alternate because I've been there a couple of times. We've sponsored the Professional Women in Building conference, and that would be a great place for exposure and opportunity, and to kind of get additional branding as well. I know that one of the things that people may ask is a little bit more on how would you be able to explain, or share examples of how, put some of the goals into action. For example, how can someone be empowered through your mission?
So
Sergio or Jerry? Yeah.
Sure, I'd love to step in there. I think very similar, Teresa, to the ecosystem that you saw in NAHREP, and we have, millionaires that have been created inside the NAHREP space that found the opportunities to not think small, not think real estate local, but to become national figures with the referral system, with connecting them with people in different markets and those type of things. That's the same kind of vision and opportunity that we can see exponential growth happening on the construction side. So there is no such an ecosystem that we are aware of, that we are familiar with. We're creating it. And so they're going to now have ties and people in different states, of course, across town, but also across the states and across the nation, where they can get bigger contracts and they can make, if it's not a job, if it's not a project that they have the scale to do, why not partner up with somebody that is like-minded, that wants to make sure and grow? Why not participate in a little bit of that success and get a little slice of the pie? And on the other hand, we have the minority training certification that we're going to be encouraging and really telling them how this can create a larger impact on their bottom line, on their bottom dollar. It's about profit. It's about business. It's about growth. I mean, I'm looking at here at your GNT, learn, grow, succeed. Same thing applies for us, Teresa. We want them to learn, come to San Diego. We want them to grow. We want them to succeed because that success is going to have ripple effects. That success is the rising tide is going to lift all boats. And irrespective of what market they're in, they're going to create an impact, an increase to the GDP, an employment opportunity to their local markets. So there's just so much there to that question, Teresa, that aligns with what you're doing here on your program, on your show with diversity, and with what we are doing now in the space of construction.
And I can attest that the relationships that are built through this organization are so valuable for opportunities for business because you build those relationships and a project comes up and guess what, Jerry, I've got, I can't work this project, but I know the perfect person. Jerry Ascencio's in LA. This is his market. You need to reach him. He's in the San Fernando Valley. You need to reach out to him because he's your person, And so that happens every single time. And you make major, opportunities, business, financial, gains with the relationships that you build through these organizations. It has definitely given me a great deal of windfalls because of NAHREP. I mean, I attribute a lot of the success, and I give Gary Acosta a lot of credit for where I am today because he has definitely developed, a lot of opportunities for me. Now, for those who are interested in, and Sergio, you mentioned chapters and how critical they are. You want to kind of develop those chapters. What is it that you look for in, creating chapters and, especially, let's say that one wants to be started here in Atlanta. What are you looking for, in the board and in the leadership and funding? How much does someone have to, because those are important. And I always tell anyone that wants to start a chapter, this is what you got to have. You got to have the following criteria in order to begin.
Well, yeah, I think people have told me now that I've been out in different markets talking about launching chapters. I almost feel like an evangelist, Teresa, now because I'm going out and spreading the word. So now I say I just need 12 disciples. I need 12 disciples in each market that are willing to engage and dedicate time and effort to this venture, really. And we want 60% of those folks to be construction workers or contractors because we want to make sure that we always represent the group that we're trying to build, right? And so that means that the other 40%, they can be your bonding companies, your insurance companies, your supply companies. Absolutely works. And so if I can get those 12 disciples that are committed, we have a goal, right? And then I think that in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier for us to launch an NHCA chapter here early on than it was for NAHREP to launch chapters. Why is that? Because NAHREP is providing $10,000 in seed funding for each of those chapters to launch and move forward. Now, we're going to try to recoup that money through local sponsorships as we have our local launch events. But obviously, that really facilitates being able to secure a venue, secure speakers, secure food or whatever else might need to be secured. So again, the key is 12 folks that are dedicated, but then they also have to be able to speak to the NHCA vision and mission. And Gary laid out the ecosystem and what we're trying to build. And within that, we've pushed forward 3 primary academies, Teresa: our Trade Workers Academy, our Construction Project Management Academy, and our Community Development Academy. And each of those academies, they're not brick and mortar. They're really silos where we collect content, curriculum, and contacts for anyone that can impact those 3 things. So if we have a contact, curriculum, or content that impacts a trade worker, it's going to be in that quote unquote file. It's going to be in that box so we can come back to it. And so those 3 academies are what we are really basing our whole movement forward on. And so when someone comes, whether they are a seasoned contractor or someone that's brand new to the business, we have a space for them. We have a place for them to peek in and say, I can grow within here, and then I can grow out of there into the next academy, so to speak. And so again, anybody that comes to the conference is definitely going to have something to learn. And we've already had some great successes already, Teresa, as far as aligning ourselves with business opportunities, whether it's with Elements Hospitality that's looking for subcontractors to help with hotel remodels across the country, whether it's some of the home builders that have already come to us and said, hey, I need electrical, I need plumbing. Well, great synergy there. So if you're not coming, you're losing business development opportunities. At the end of the day, we can be Hispanic, we can be this, we can be that. At the end of the day, this is business development 101.
So I love that. So you're getting even companies calling and say, hey, I see that you have this organization. We need you.
Absolutely. And it was funny. Elements Hospitality called me on the day before Christmas Eve. I was out walking the dogs and they couldn't believe I picked up the phone. And I said, hey, I'm in business 24/7.
That's right.
And they started talking to me about—
We're in real estate, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. They started talking to me about what their need was, what their niche was. Did I think that we had anybody that could meet those criteria? And absolutely. And so actually they're going to have their own session in San Diego. Why? Because they do hotel remodels across the country, and they need to identify subs that do flooring, that do painting, that do carpentry work. And so our contractors, our members that show up, they're going to get to hear firsthand from Elements Hospitality, hey, you need to line up your ducks. If you want to work with us, you need to be this, you need to have that, and you need to make sure you can bring this to the table.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I love it. So, for those who do not know the mission, because you've talked about how important that is, that the chapters, that the other organizations, that everyone aligns with the mission. What's the mission?
Well, our mission and vision is to empower Hispanic construction workers and contractors to obtain the appropriate level in the industry. And so that is the vision and the mission. And so how do we accomplish that? We put the right tools and resources in front of them. We can say, we want to move them up 1 rung on the construction ladder or 2. Or we can go back to something that I love that Gary says is doing well by doing good. If we are bringing folks with the right intentions to the table, Teresa, we can explode this. And I think that that's exactly what we're trying to do. So One of the things that was captured in our report and that we've talked about is we make up 30% of the construction industry, 30% plus, but we only represent 15% of leadership, 15% of ownership. There's a disconnect there about where we exist in the construction ecosystem nationally. And so the vision, the mission is to get us to be appropriately represented. We want our members to understand this is not a job. Doing construction is not a job. It's an investment. It's a creation of a legacy, and it's the building of wealth. And that's what we want them to understand. Think bigger.
Well, I love it. I think it's important that we start to elevate our our people into putting them into into professional opportunities because they belong there. They have the skill set, they have the business knowledge, the acumen, and I think, what your report has disclosed is that we have the business. We just need to put the leaders in the right place. And I love that. The report, where can people access it?
Well, besides the copy I'm holding here in front of me, they can go online to nhca.pro and they could tap the link there and they could download it. It's a good read. It's a quick read. We have an executive summary at the front there if you want the Cliff Note version. And again, this was our inaugural report. We'll be releasing an updated report in early 2026.
Repeat the access again, NHCA.
NHCA.pro. And so it's
PRO.
not .com, PRO, because we are
.pro.
professional contractors, construction workers, and industry professionals. So
Perfect.
NHCA.pro.
Perfect. And so that report provides a lot of great information about the industry, about the Latino community, about the work that is done in the construction industry, and why this organization does such great work and why it's needed. As we wrap up, can you believe it? It's already time. I really always love to end with a fun question. And this is my question for both of you. So I'm going to start with you, Jerry. If you could build your dream home, it's funny because I was just thinking about this question yesterday. Anywhere in the world, with an unlimited construction crew and budget, that's a big one. Where would it be? And what one signature feature would it include?
Oh, wow. So I would have to open up with the word Yellowstone. I'd like to have a ranch like Yellowstone Ranch where we can have the cows grazing. I can have the horses in the paddocks and out in the different fields, maybe a breeding program, but also have an amphitheater where performances could be done, where art and music could be shared, which is our cultural glue, the glue that holds my family together. We're a very mariachi-oriented family, a musical family. So a place where we could break bread. And what would it have? It would be an Ascencio family compound. There would be one major home for each of my children that would all live at the same property on this major ranch, location of choice, and where it would be all self-sustainable, and you could basically live off the grid with all food and all those elements being produced on the ranch. For me, that would be a dream come true.
And yeah, like a Yellowstone. I love it, love it, love it. Because I want to give the shout out and kudos. You mentioned the mariachi, and you have beyond musical. Your family is so, I mean, famous for that. I know your son, I have to say, congratulations, just got married, and he sang his wedding song to his beautiful bride because he just won. Was he not a winner in La Voz?
So both of my sons, my youngest one was a winner and contestant on La Voz Kids on the original first round, and the one that you're referring to that just got married has 4 Grammy nominations so far, including his most recent recording and work with Mariachi Sol de Mexico de Jose Hernandez. Travels the world and now just did a composition, a song with Lupita Infante, the granddaughter of the legendary Pedro Infante. So for us, culture, música, that's what we breathe and sleep and think about. That's our passion.
He sings he's like an angel. His I mean, I'm telling you, beautiful, 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 Jerry.
Thank you.
I'm just
Gracias.
again, I have to mention how beautiful that is. So I can see that beautiful dream of the Yellowstone and the ranch for sure.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Sergio. How about you?
I'm hoping it was Jerry.
We have to have a we have to have a place there in your
Yeah, you
compound, Jerry, for
just all
sure.
I need is an ADU on the back there, Jerry. 1,200 square feet will be fine.
Sounds great.
Yeah, uh, Teresa, they say happy wife, happy life, right? So my dream home would definitely be in one of the California wine valleys, uh, on a golf course. And I think the key feature that my home would absolutely have to have is obviously bedrooms and space for my entire family, but it would need to have floor to ceiling sliding pocket doors that open out onto an outdoor living space where you could put your dining room table, your living room, your fireplace, and you could just view the vineyards, eat and drink, and figure out when Jerry's concert is going to go on at the next venue over. I think that would be more than enough. A little smaller than Jerry's, but I think adequate.
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. I know that you love wine. Your wife loves the wine. So I think, and I just never forgot. I can see that because I remember visiting your house in, during CBOG or during LA Live when we went out,
Right.
and I saw the outdoor that you built, the fireplace, and that beautiful front gate, and I can just see that.
Mhm.
I can see that dream. So again, I really appreciate both of you joining me today and for sharing the incredible work that NHCA is doing to empower Hispanic professionals and certainly reshaping the future of construction. No doubt, I think it's going to be an incredible organization. The future is very bright, and I'm excited to be sharing this with our group, with everyone out there. And I can't wait to see y'all in less than a month and a half at at AVANCE Global. And your vision, your leadership, and your stories are very inspiring for sure. And again, I really appreciate your time in today's conversation. I hope that it's going to spark a lot of new ideas and action within our community and across our audiences. So thank you again. To everyone tuning in, if you're interested in joining NHCA, learning more, or partnering with this movement, be sure to visit their website and follow them on social media. This is more than an organization. It's a growing network of change makers, builders, and leaders. And before we go, don't forget to join us for 2 exciting upcoming shows. We've got our Women Who Lead episode, which airs on Wednesday, August 13th. So join us for that one, featuring another powerhouse group of operational women leaders who will be sharing their stories. And then we also are going to be doing another Diversity Matters right here on Wednesday, August 27th. So again, we appreciate it. Until next time, keep growing, keep building, and always remember, diversity isn't just what we do, it's who we are. See you next time on Diversity Matters. Bye bye.